Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. We certainly are. And question and answer Friday, always fun. Let me see. I bet I took my glasses off. Hey, Mike from Norland, you're number one. Brahim, number two this morning. You two guys. And Andrea, the Trinity, is on with us this morning. Lynn, Aurora, how are you? Fran from Orangeville, good morning. And Sharon, good morning to you. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Rosa, Montreal. And there's Jolene. And Betty Lynn, how are you? From Brantford. Janice from Brampton. Lynn Marie, good morning. Susan, how are you? And Nativity, good morning to you. Grace from the Rock. And Bonnie, how are you? Wendy, Markham, Kevin, Oshawa. And Jeanette, bonjour. Jude from Troy, New York, good morning to you. Jeanette from our staff. Jeanette, good morning. Brahim. Joanne, how are you? Berks Fall. Linda. Oh, those Lindas. Elaine, Richmond Hill, Ontario. Adeline, good morning. And Patricia. And Deb from Timmins. Rosalinda from the Kidneys of Canada, Niagara Falls. Maria, good morning. Lori, Niagara Falls too. Lindy, how are you? Medicine Hat. Donna, Newfoundland. Margaret, Lakeland. Couple of more here, guys. Brandon from Indiana and Darla. Deborah, I already said you, Deb. Thea. Donna from Bell Valley. And Jean, how are you from Peterborough? Paul, how are you, Paul? From Edmonton. Monica from Granby, Quebec. Bonjour. Lynn and Ruby. Oh, I want to sing, Ruby. I want to sing. Edith. And Mary, New Brunswick. Doc McEwen, there she is. Dear friend from West Tennessee. Lori. Tina. And I couldn't see it. Shirley. Okay, let's get to these questions, guys. Okay, because we got lots this morning. Jan, my husband was told to stop taking the following vitamins or supplements before his operation. We were told they interfere with the anesthetic. You know, look, I can't tell you, Jan, and I never would, tell you to disobey doctor's advice, okay? But I always find it interesting that physicians who know nothing about supplements, I mean, they wouldn't know a supplement if it slapped them in the face, most of them, okay? And I hate to be negative, but I'm just telling you reality. And then, make sure you stop all your supplements before you get an operation and all this and that. Look, I'll tell you, they base it on what? Anyway, but I can't tell you not to follow their advice. I can't do it. But, it bothers me. They're so scared of natural supplements, it's unreal. What if a patient is on 20 medications, which is often the case, and they often interact with each other and all that, but they never say anything about that kind of stuff. But natural supplements, they'll kill you if you have to have an operation. Anyway, I'm very skeptical. And that's just me, Jan. Krista, I had a CT scan showing atypical lung inflammation or infection. Walking pneumonia. Have I ever heard of it? You bet your boots. Look, walking pneumonia is a mild form of pneumonia, okay? And usually bacterial or viral, and some people have it and they get mild symptoms of it. Like a real full-blown pneumonia is no fun. You're sucking for air. You don't feel good. You got, usually a very high fever and you're not well. But a walking pneumonia is just less serious. And yeah, I've seen it. I've heard of it, Krista. Yes, for sure. Jolene, were you the one that came up this morning? Jolene, same one? Asking this question? Is wild meat like moose and deer as good as beef meat? Yes. Yes, it's very good. Now, in terms of B12, maybe a little bit less. Okay, but it's very good for you. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Wild meat, hey, go for it. Very good for you. Okay, like I said, they measured, I remember one time reading a study or whatever, they measured wild meat in terms of, putting it up against beef. And as far as B12, I think it was a little bit less, but still very high compared to anything else. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Jolene, go for it. Diane, is there a relationship between diabetes and ADHD? Yep, there is. Now, let me just get this little thing because I showed you the other day. All right, where did I put this? Sugar and... Okay? Sugar is the enemy, right? And if you see, brain, okay? Kids, ADHD, ADD, diet has a big effect on that. They are canaries in the coal mine. Yes, it has a big effect. ADD and what I'm saying is this, okay? You can be a diabetic without diabetes. Does that sound silly to you? You can be a diabetic without diabetes, meaning that it goes downstream and blood sugar is the last thing that will go south. Way before diabetes, you can have things downstream that bother you, including your brain, your focus, ADD, ADHD, big time. You're not a diabetic per se, like as far as the diagnosis, because your sugars have to go up to a certain level before they tell you you're a diabetic. But way before that, and even in kids, their brains are swimming in an ocean of fuel that they can't use. The brain takes 25% of your food. It's headquarters. It's the federal government. And when kids, they start their day with sugary cereals and then they eat cookies, and then they have all these, lunches that are full of sugar and, sweetened yogurt and all the things that they eat. Their brain is swimming in an ocean. It's like you swimming in the Atlantic, but you can't drink that water. You're surrounded by water, but you can't drink it. And that's what happens with the brain. It's got a fuel that it can't use properly. And so, very good question. Diane. Lucy, what does Dr. Martin know about Shotai, where the practitioners can detect things going wrong in the body by looking at the eyes, tongue, and teeth? Well, I don't know anything about Shotai, if that's how you say it. But I believe that every physician, and they used to be trained like this, okay? They used to be trained like this. Observe. Look. I've heard it more than once, where I can't, it's so comical to me if it weren't so sad. Okay, but listen, I've had patients, former patients, tell me they'd gone to see their physician, family doctor, or whatever, and the doctor never looked at them. The doctor was on the computer with his or her back turned to them. And you get to ask me one question, says the doctor. If you want to give me a migraine, that gives me a migraine. I can't get over that. Because many of you came to see me. Well, obviously, I say many. Now the audience is shrinking. When I had my radio show, I used to have a lot of people listening on my radio show that either eventually became patients or were patients before. But now on podcasting and all this and that, like, I feel like you're part of my family, but you never came to my office in my clinical days, okay? So you didn't know me that way. But if you knew me, I'm telling you, I was all over you. I remember a lady telling me, hey, doc, you're in my space. I said, you're in my clinic. This is my space. And my eyeballs, I was looking into her eyes. I was looking at the eyebrows. I was looking at hair. I was looking at skin. Observant. Okay? And you wanted to see me, you were in my space. And I was all over you. Okay? I was all over you. I would often have patients, hey, grip, give me a handshake. I'd be looking for sarcopenia. A lot of people, they got no more grip strength or whatever. That was important to me. That was important to me. I was often looking at the thyroid. I know you can't look inside, but I used to palpate it and see if it was swollen. A lot of times you have hypothyroidism or even hyper, and the thyroid is inflamed to some extent, and you could feel it. But anyway, it bothers me. And so I don't know about these practitioners. I have no idea. Look, you know what the best in medicine is? When you're very observant and you're doing testing. Blood tests. Do I like blood tests? I love blood tests. If you, especially when you learn how to look at the right testing and to look for things. And anyway, good question. Who was that? That was Lucy. I have no idea about Shotai, but I agree with looking. But the best of a physician ought to look, and a physician ought to order tests too, right? Get all the testing done. The right biomarkers, and look for these things. Anyways, thank you, Lucy, for the question. Selena, Yeah, this is 2 weeks in a row. It's 2 weeks in a row asking about nicotine patches being used other than what they were originally created for, and that is to get you off smoking. And Selena is asking whether it helps Parkinson's or other neurological diseases or diagnoses. Studies show that they don't, but people swear that it helps their tremors. I'll tell you something, okay? Selena, I'll tell you something. If I thought I used to say this to patients all the time. If I thought that hanging you upside down from the top of my building here would help you, I would hold your feet. What do I mean by that? Well, if nicotine patches help people with Parkinson's, why would I be against that? Now, there are some side effects to that. Might elevate your blood pressure and whatever. But if it helped a tremor, hey, I'm all for it. Of that. Cortisol is cortisol gets your blood sugar going. Cortisol gets your blood pressure going. Cortisol wakes you up in the morning. What's the best time to take cortisol control? Well, the best time. One of the times Because what, 70, 80% of the population don't even get a good night's sleep? Well, cortisol control. And I'll put it up against any supplement on sleep. Any supplement. Because, guys, I was around for 50 years. You name it, I tried it in my office for sleep. You name it, I tried it. And every individual thing in our cortisol control, I tried on its own, too. Remember the story about going up on the roof and holding your feet? If you tell me something's helping you to sleep, other than a sleeping pill, because you're not sleeping with a sleeping pill. You're sedated. Big difference. No repairs taking place in your brain. The self-cleaning oven in your brain's not working then. You're sedated. You're not sleeping. Okay? Do I feel sorry for people who can't sleep? You bet your boots I feel sorry for people who can't sleep. Okay? But it's labels. In Canada, we have restrictions on labels and commands from Health Canada to put certain things certain way on labels. There used to be a time where Health Canada, the policing of the natural health products was the best in the world. And they sort of policed themselves through Health Canada, and they were the best in the world, top. But today, there's a war on natural products. So they've got all sorts of rules. Anyway, don't get my blood pressure going, because you will. They're not synthetic, but unfortunately, the label says we have to put them as synthetic. Okay. That was Joanne, and thank you, Joanne. You gave me a headache, but it's all right. I want to answer the questions, okay? And she said, I was under the impression that you use natural, good quality ingredient. Nothing better. Nothing better. Okay, Monica, would love a cure for very low serotonin levels that lead to depression. Dr. Martin could speak about that and how people with this issue may help themselves to be off antidepressants. Well, what did I read the other day? 300 million prescriptions in America alone for antidepressants in 2021. 300 million. Common problem? Big time. Okay? Big time. And, you could call it the drugging of North America. I mean, people, what happens is they treat symptoms and never look at the cause. And depression, we're finding out much more today about depression. One thing, and this came out in 2021, that they were, when you're looking at SSRIs, it doesn't get to the root of the issue. Looking for love in all the wrong places. And antidepressants, it's a Band-Aid at best. And guys, I remember this, and it's been a while since I said this to you as an audience. I was around when antidepressants first came out. And I remember like it was yesterday. You know what it said when they came out? Used temporarily only to get you through a crisis. And people have been on them for 20 or 30 years. They can't get off of them. But what did I tell you yesterday? Okay, let me get to, hold on a minute. I'm going to get you a study. Okay. Where's that study now? Oh, here's a couple of studies on depression. Just new, hot off the press. Resistant training beats, okay? That's the headline. I didn't make it up. Resistant training beats meds for depression. Vitamin E. Sun, steak, and steel. Steel being workout for depression. Sun for depression. I tell you, I never saw a case of depression in my office where they weren't low in vitamin D. I mean it. I never saw a case. I'm sure there are, but I never saw one. And here's another one. They were low in B12. Almost invariably. Low in exercise. Low in vitamin D, the sun. Low in B12. Often low in magnesium. Often low in magnesium. And I think there was another study. Hold on. I'm just trying to see because there was, anyway, I'll find it here because treating diabetes, hold on a minute. Anyway, I had a study that showed exercise, okay, leaky gut, leaky brain, as far as depression, cortisol, anxiety leads to depression. Uncontrolled anxiety leads to depression. All of these things are important, okay? So this is what I highly recommend, okay? Because like I said, the most recent research has shown all these years of antidepressants like SSRIs were looking for love in the wrong places. They were a band-aid at best. Merci beaucoup, Monica, for the question, okay? I appreciate it. Angela, you toot. I love the word. Angela says, Dr. Martin, you toot the benefits of coffee. Toot, toot. You bet your boots. I toot the benefits of coffee. I mean it. That's how good coffee is for you. As a matter of fact, let me just get this because I was going to bring it out next week. Let me just see. This is Tamanetla. Let me see. I think I got it right in front of me here. Where did I see it? New studies on coffee. I got to get organized here. I'm getting ready to do a seminar online for doctors of, for physicians. And hold on. Let me just see if I can find this really quickly on coffee. I'm just reading this. Coffee drinkers, here it is. I'm going to talk about the real vitamin C. Listen to new studies on coffee. I'll bring this out in more detail next week. Coffee drinkers, do you know that coffee helps to block estrogen? All those xenoestrogens, coffee helps. Coffee drinkers have a lower incidence of thyroid disease, including thyroid cancers. Toot, toot. I'm touting the benefits of coffee. It protects against cancer caused by radiation. Coffee. It inhibits too much iron. You know what too much iron is called? Hemochromatosis. And coffee helps. You know why? Because coffee really protects the liver from the accumulation of iron. It protects against stress-induced cell death without interfering with normal cell activity. All this are new. And new studies, according. Coffee provides significant quantities of magnesium. Who knew? As well as B1. Guys, why do you think I call coffee the real vitamin C? Okay? Anyway, that's not what Angela, okay? You toot the benefits of coffee. I love that, as I'm a coffee lover. Me too. However, what are your thoughts on decaffeination? I'm all right with that. It's not the caffeine. It's the bean. It's the coffee bean. And if you get a water process, look for it. It's called Swiss water decaffeination. It's a natural decaffeination. Listen, I gotta have decaf afternoon. I like a decaf at night. I do. After supper, I'm a coffee. Give me 1 coffee, 3 during the day. I have 4 cups of coffee a day. Okay? The odd time I'll hit 5. The odd time I'll hit 3. But generally my sweet spot is 4. And I gotta have a decaf. I gotta have a decaf after lunch, because if I have a regular coffee, I won't sleep that night. Okay? That all happened after I was 50 years old, by the way. Okay, that's me. Okay, guys, let me just see, because I ain't gonna get 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, I got too many questions. Okay, so we gotta have question and answer Monday. Might as well stop now. The last one was on coffee. Okay. Guys, I hope you had fun today. Okay? I sure did. I got so many studies out in front of me now because I was getting ready for this seminar. Okay. And hopefully they'll record it, and you'll be able to, maybe I'll be able to share with it after I do this. I think it's for the end of October. Okay. Guys, we love you dearly. Just to mention, and I posted this the other day, that I'll be speaking at a seminar locally in Sudbury at Collège Boreal on October the 29th. I think it's 7 p.m. And it was a very limited venue in terms of tickets. And if you haven't got that and you're in this area and you'd like to come, you got to let me know today, because I think the venue is just about sold out. I'm doing this with, and you met her this week if you were an integrative pharmacist, and understanding the importance of food and medicine, food being medicine. Rachel Roca and Karen Hortavenko will be with me on that night. Okay, so if you'd like to get a ticket and you're going to be in this area, are they going to record it? I don't know. I didn't organize the venue. I hope they do. And if they do, and I can somehow get a hold of it, we will put it out there. Because I understand, like people here, by the end of this morning, we'll have 10,000 views on this Facebook. And then it will be turned into a podcast. So, I understand. We have people from all over North America, well, around the world, but mostly North America. Hey, not a chance you're coming to Sudbury. Why would you? You used to. When I was in practice, I had people come from all over the world to see me. And I always made it worth their while. Okay. Anyway, guys, we love you dearly. Talk to you soon.